Today we are going to see the skull anatomy. The cranial cavity is divided into anterior, middle and posterior cranial cavity. Anterior is divided from the middle by the posterior margin of the lesser wing of sphenoid. Middle is divided from the posterior by the petrosal part of the temporal bone. Now we are going to see the anterior cranial cavity. The anterior cranial cavity is formed by orbital part of the frontal bone and the lesser wing of the sphenoid and the ethmoidal bone. The center of the ethmoidal bone has a elevation known as crista galli. On either side, the plate is known as cribriform plate. In front of the crista galli, there is a foramen known as foramen caecum. So this is the foramen caecum through which the nasal emissary vein passes, and through this cribriform plate there are so many foramens through which the 5 to 10 filaments of olfactory nerve passes. The middle cranial cavity consists of greater wing of the sphenoid, which is butterfly shape, then the anterior glenoid tubercle and the posterior glenoid tubercle and the body of the sphenoid bone, and also the squamous part of the temporal bone. Cavity consists of many foramens. The first one will be the superior orbital fissure. So this is the superior orbital fissure. So this is the foramen rotundum through which maxillary nerve passes, and this is the foramen ovale. The male structure passes, that is mandibular nerve, accessory meningeal artery and lesser petrosal nerve and emissary vein. And here the small foramen, which is the foramen spinosum, through which middle meningeal artery and nervus spinosum passes. So this is the foramen lacerum through which meningeal branch of ascending pharyngeal artery passes and also the emissary vein. So this is foramen rotundum, foramen ovale, foramen spinosum and foramen lacerum. Base of the skull, this is the foramen magnum. So anterior to this foramen magnum has two condyles. This is the anterior condyles. In front of the anterior condyle, so in front of the condyles, so this is the hypoglossal foramen. This is the hypoglossal foramen, so through which the hypoglossal nerve passes. In front of the hypoglossal foramen, there is a large foramen known as jugular foramen. So through the jugular foramen, the 9, 10 and 11 cranial nerves passes. And in front of the jugular foramen, this is the internal acoustic meatus. So through this, the labyrinthine artery and 7 and 8 cranial nerve passes. The internal acoustic meatus, the jugular foramen and the hypoglossal foramen. Hypoglossal foramen, jugular foramen and the internal acoustic meatus, and this is the external acoustic meatus.